Alright, today I'll be talking about VTP. VTP stands for VLAN Trunking Protocol, and it helps with managing layer 2 devices such as these switches here. So let's say you had a network with, I don't know, 500 switches. That's a lot of switches to add, delete, or modify VLANs on. So let's say you were tasked with, on 400 of those switches, adding, VLAN 5, naming it something, and having it there, assigning an IP address. That'd be a lot of manual labor. However, with VTP, we can add, delete, and modify VLANs through a server, and all the clients will receive those updates and change and configure based off those. So, switch 3 here. First of all, there's 3 VTP modes. There's server, transparent, and client. Server's the boss. It adds, deletes, and modifies VLANs. And all changes that are made on the server go down to the clients. Then the clients, they cannot add, delete, or modify VLANs. They're the lowest privilege, and they just have to basically obey the server's commands. And then transparents pass on information but do not change their configuration. So we've got 3 switches. We got switch 3, 2, and 1 here. So for switch 3, we're going to make it a VTP server. So we're going to just go into the CLI here of switch 3, going to enable. And so the show command we're going to be using to check our status is show VTP status, or stat for short. Alright, so here we go. We have the capabilities, and then we have what's going on. So VTP operating mode is a server right now. Maximum VLAN supported is 255. Total number of VLANs existing right now is 5. That's just the default VLANs, 1 and 1002 to 1005. And I can show you that right here. Show VLAN brief, and it shows. Here you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here's your default VLAN. So it's already in the server mode. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to configure terminal, global configuration mode, and we are going to type in VTP. Now, from here we have domain, mode, password, and version. So we're going to start off with domain. So with a domain name, like a VTP domain name, it's important that devices within the same VTP group have the same domain name. This is how they associate and know, hey, I need to change. So I'm going to set the domain name as NTT, my channel name. Alright. It's going to give you a message saying changing VTP domain name from null to NTT. So now if we look up here when we issued this status thing, okay, I don't know if it shows or not. It should show the domain name right here, nothing. That's null. Now if we do show VTP status, it's going to show our domain name, NTT, so we know what we're operating on. Alright, so now we are going to go to switch 1. With switch 1, we want switch 1 to be a client. This means that this switch will receive, this switch will receive whatever configuration switch 3 does. So we're going to go VTP domain NTT. Now we want these names to be the same, that way it can associate. Now, real quick, if I open up switch 3, alright, this is switch 3. I can do this real quick. There we go. This is switch 3, and this is switch 1. Alright. With this, the VTP operating mode by default is server. Same with switch 1 over here. So if I go VTP mode, it gives me 3 modes: client, server, and transparent. I'm going to choose server. Even though it's already a server, it's gonna set it, and it's gonna give me a message anyways. It's gonna say device is already VTP server. Over here, I'm gonna go VTP mode, client. It's going to set it to client. Now if I do show VTP status, you can see the VTP operating mode is client now. Domain name is NTT. Okay. So now I'm going to do show VLAN brief. Alright, so with this switch here, we have the native VLAN, VLAN 1, and let's say I want to add a VLAN. This is a client switch. What do you think is going to happen when I try to create a VLAN? It's not going to let me because it's a client mode. It doesn't want you adding or deleting or modifying VLANs, so it's not allowed. But then on server mode, now notice there's only 5 VLANs. Server mode, if I go over here and go, hey, I want to create VLAN 10. I want to call it HR. Alright, now when we exit, when we do show VLAN brief, we now have HR here, right? Okay. Do show VLAN brief. Look at that. We have HR over here. Now I did not configure it over here. I'll do some more examples. I'll just add some VLANs. VLAN 20, VLAN 119, VLAN 400. Alright. Do show VLAN brief. Look at that. They're all over here. Do show VLAN. Do show VLAN brief. Same thing. Okay. So this updates it back and forth, which is nice. So now, if we go to switch 2, let's say switch 2 is a special switch, and we don't want all those VLANs on it. Because right now, do show VLAN brief, we have them. But let's say that's all I want there. I don't want any more than these VLANs. What we can do is VTP mode, since this is server. Do show VTP status real quick. Since this is a server, it's automatically grab this name. Okay. So let's change the operating mode. VTP mode transparent. Okay. Now, this means that now that he's got these VLANs, he's not going to add any more, delete any more. So now I'm going to go to switch 3 and I'm going to add VLAN 56. Doesn't matter what number it is. I can also add VLAN 57. Do show VLAN brief. They are going to show up. Sorry for the small window. Here they are, 56 and 57. Switch 2 should not have those. Do show VLAN brief. Look at that. It's transparent, so it's hiding now. But it's still going to send through switch 2. It's still going to go, hey, look, buddy, switch 1, you need to change. Do show VLAN brief. You need to change and add these VLANs. I'm not going to do it because I'm a transparent switch, but you should do it because you're a client. You have to. Alright, so now, if I go in here, no VLAN 57, no VLAN 56, no VLAN 119, no VLAN 400. I'm taking some VLANs out. Alright, so now we just have HR and VLAN 20. Okay, so what do you think is going to happen to switch 2? Well, let's look. Here it is. I know that might look confusing, but I refreshed the command. It didn't listen. It's still a transparent switch, so it's not going to obey modifications, deleting, or adding VLANs. But switch 1 should have obeyed. Let's see here. There it is. 10 and 20. Perfect. So you can see switch 2 here has not obeyed. It's kept its VLANs. Switch 3 was the server, and switch 1 was the client. So that's VTP. Now, it's pretty simple as far as the commands. The version, it's just there's version 1 and version 2. Version 2 is just a better version. Just like everything else, RIP version 1, version 2, it's just more improved. There's VTP password, y'all might have noticed. So what's a password? So if you set a password, let's go to the server. You want to go to the server. If you set a password, VTP password, NTT, now you would never set it to the same as your domain name. And that's a little careless, because then somebody could, you know, update and attack your devices or something. But if I go here and go VTP password, hey, Okay. That's the password of hey now. And I go here and go VLAN 30, create. Do show VLAN brief to make sure it's there. There it is, 30. Switch 1, what do you have? Do show VLAN brief. Wait, there's no 30. Why? Because it's a different password. So if I need to update this, let's say I made some configurations on the server switch, and I need to update this, I would type in VTP password NTTT. There we go. Alright, now do show VLAN brief. There it is, VLAN 30. So it's kind of like it's not so much as a password, but like a special phrase you have to use to unlock or update your VLANs. So there we go. So the passwords must match. That's just a more secure way if you need to. If somebody had access to like a switch, but they didn't know the password and you didn't want them to, it's just a good way to keep things secure. So that's VTP. So I've got some questions here. You can leave your answers in the comments, and just leave a like and subscribe. Have a good day.